Okay, before we get started, I just want to say happy 4th of July to everybody. And just want to also say that I've been a little sick the past 2 days. So I've had a bit of a stuffy / runny nose, a little bit of a headache. But that's kind of subsided right now. But if you hear me sniffling, that's kind of why. So today I want to talk to you all about 10 reasons why you should join the Marine Corps. Now, I'm not going to be focusing on the very generic type stuff that maybe the recruiter might tell you as far as the uniforms, that, hey, you're going to have all these ladies all over you, or guys are going to be all over you, you know, whatever have you. And honestly, that never really worked for me. Didn't really have too many girls coming up to me when I was in uniform. But besides that, they also mentioned about earning the title and getting the EGA. And we said, okay, that's cool. You know, I mean, a lot of it is kind of heavily focused on that. And also with the VA and getting the benefits after you get out, which I haven't had any VA benefits that I've gone after, just because I really didn't have too many injuries. The worst I probably had was like a back spasm. I had a sprained ankle, which I don't think I ever put down on paper on the medical record, so that probably wouldn't have helped me in the case. But a lot of my friends have had their own issues with the VA as far as getting the process going, all the paperwork, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get to the video. But before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, really does help me out a lot. Hit that notification button so you get notified every time I do upload. And here are 10 reasons why you should join the Marine Corps. Okay, so number 1, the GI Bill. Now, as generic as that might seem, because you probably heard it if you were in a military family, if you were approached by military members, not just the Marine Corps, say in your senior year of high school, it's probably something you probably already heard. But for some reason, when I got out and was using the GI Bill in my state, and then I had a lot of other students tell me, hey, so what do you do for work? You know, because some people would be already working in a gym. I was trying to go for a personal trainer, and they would say, what do you do? I would say, I'm on the GI Bill. And I assumed they kind of really knew what it was, but like 95% of people roughly didn't really know what it was supposed to be about. They probably heard the name, but the only people that did know about it were people who were also in the military or people who had family that were. So just a little quick rundown on the GI Bill. To pay for 3-4 years of your schooling, and not just the tuition, but they'll actually pay you a housing allowance for the month. But they do only pay you on the days that you actually go there, and you do have to attend. And for me, in my state, I almost just said the state. In my state, I was getting paid around $2,500 at most a month, and the lowest I ever got was probably like $900 or $1,000-ish, like somewhere in between there. Now, since they only pay you for the days that you're actually in there, the term sometimes would end like on the first week of the next month, or it would start in the first week or in the last week of the first month of that term. So you might only get paid for 1 week's worth for that month, and then it's kind of very dependent. But still, it's quite a bit of money, right, just to go to school. That's kind of just a quick rundown about the GI Bill, and then from my own personal experience as well. So if you're looking to go to college and you want to be able to focus only on that, go into the Marine Corps. Although I would recommend maybe choosing a more admin type job, right? Protect your body, infantry. If you want to go for it, go for it. But in any case, number 2, it's a lot easier to get hired after getting out of the Marine Corps. Now, for some reason, I don't know if this is specifically with the Marine Corps, but I tried to get a job while I was going to school. But at a certain point, the job that I did end up getting was going to be interfering a little too much. I was going to be cutting it close as far as getting there, going to work, being able to come home. And then I realized that going to school was going to pay me a lot more, right? And then the job was a labor job, so I was going to be extremely tired. And I figured, you know what, might as well focus on school. But when I was getting the job, the person was actually, I think it was airman. And he actually, when he found out that I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps, we just kind of already had this little like good rapport, and I already knew I was kind of getting the job. So I also had a lot of friends, right, that some were working on the, what do you call them, like the little wind turbines, right? And I had other friends that were working main labor jobs, or places where they would say, hey, you need a certain amount of experience in this field, but they would find out that they actually had prior experience in the Marine Corps, and then boom, almost immediately hired. Now, that's my personal experience, some experience from my peers, but I honestly believe just because they look at you, and it could be any military branch really, they'll look at it and be like, hey, at least with the Marine Corps, they know you have some form of discipline. They know that you're probably fit if you're going for a labor job, and they know that you have some form of commitment, right? Although you are in a contract, so you were kind of had to stay there. And number 3, you're fully covered medically. Now, I don't know how too many people know about this, but from my own experience, I kind of knew it, but I never really knew what it entailed. And as far as what I remember, it would only cover you medically as if it was something that was physically hurting you. And in my case, my tonsils actually ended up swelling up to the point where it was very difficult for me to be able to breathe. And then actually, I had to call a buddy because I told him, hey, I can't really breathe well right now. He really knew my tonsils were kind of fucked at that point. So he rushes over like 5-10 seconds, bangs on my door, said, hey, we're going to the hospital. I said, okay, cool. So we go there. Turns out to the one on base that they couldn't get it out because I had an abscess. It's like a little hard white shit that is on the tonsils. And they couldn't get it out there, so we ended up getting, they ended up having to get an ambulance from Palm Springs that took me over there. And when I was kind of going over the bill at the end, I saw that ride was like a couple grand. And I was like, oh my God. Especially when they called me up saying like how I was gonna pay for it. And I was like, hey, I'm in the military. They told me that they got it covered. And then that was it, right? So as far as it only really covering medically things that are injuring you. So for example, if you want to get your nose done, I know I got a pretty big nose, I got big ears. They wouldn't cover that. So just to give you like a little bit of a background on that. All right, so number 4, as far as stories go. Now stories, funny, shit times. It could be creepy times, right? Like you have some scary stories, or it could be some heated moments, or it could even be moments where it's like, we don't know what the fuck was going on, or it's like, why would they do that? Like, damn, my nose is killing me. I've seen Marines set trash cans on fire because they're bored. Literally, you wake up in the barracks, you see broken glass bottles everywhere. And boot camp, you got people pissing in canteens because they couldn't hold it in because they could only have a certain amount of recruits in the actual bathroom or head, right? And you just get a lot of stories from the moment you get to boot camp. Boot camp are mainly funny, and then you get to your schooling. In my case, with SOY, get some more funny stories. And once you get to the fleet, you kind of get a whole mix of everything in between. And it makes for really great stories, not only to reminisce with your buddies after you get out, but also with your buddies outside of the Marine Corps or outside of the military in general. And honestly, it makes things a little more exciting in a sense, right? Like there's a lot of shit that happened when I was in that I never would have thought of I would have been involved in. But I'm not going to go too deep into that. All right, so number 5. Now this one's more for the married couples, right? Married couples get extra money. I think, I think it was like an extra $600. And a lot of times, because of that, some of the Marines, like, what was it? E6 and above could get their own place off base or on base, but on base I hear is a little more difficult. And they actually help you get housing as well. And with that extra money, it's great if you're with someone that you really care about and you guys are actually happy together. Now, in some instances, Marines just want to get out of the barracks and then they end up just marrying a random person. They tell them, hey, I'll give you some of the money of the extra that they would give me. I just want to be able to have my own place, to be able to relax and not have to deal with the barracks. Most of the time, I want to say like at least 80 to 90% of the time, whoever they ended up hooking up with and got married with ends up screwing them over, specifically when they get on deployment. But if you're a happy married couple, you get a little bit of extra money. Number 6. Now, as far as being able to analyze people and kind of see power struggles, now, you really get an idea of what you think someone is acting like, but then actually see, like, I guess, like, if you want to say like a two-face, right? Like, you would see people act very, I guess if you want to say hard, right? But they only do it around certain specific people that they know wouldn't do anything back. And then towards other people, they'll like completely 180. Or you get some of the people that you end up realizing that are very, I guess we want to call them brown nosers or like suck-ups. They like to suck up to the chain of command. And a lot of times you see people who are in a higher position than you, right, like a higher rank, who try to pull rank, and it's kind of one of those from Lance Corporal Underground, right, when I was still a part of it, that it's kind of a taboo thing. The moment you pull rank, people, in my experience, don't really like you. So it really gives you a chance to not only analyze people like while you're in, but also when you get out, and to also kind of like analyze situations, because you're always told, specifically, say for example, when you're in, I forgot what the specific range was, but it's the range of 29 pounds. We actually go through ID training, and you're always being told, for example, look for disturbed earth, look for anything, look for wires, look for movement, look for anything whatsoever. Look for places where, if you were a terrorist, right, where would you plant IEDs? So it really gets you to start, what's the word? Predicting what's going to happen next, right? And you see this a lot with people, which I think is very beneficial because it could also help you, like, say, afterwards when you're trying to get a job, right? So you kind of tell, like, hey, how well you're getting along with someone, which I think people skills, very great in any aspect. So as far as analyzing people, it just seemed like maybe people who really have like that power struggle, and just bottom line, being able to, I guess, create rapport with someone, kind of trying to find that common ground, which I actually had to do quite a bit because there's quite a few people that I just didn't like, or people who just didn't like me. And for mine, it was more because I knew who they were acting as, but they would act completely different in other certain situations, and it would, ugh. But yeah, being able to read people and being able to communicate with people, very big. Number 7, this is kind of small, but there's free gyms, right? And by that I mean every base has a gym, and you don't have to pay for anything. Open 24 hours, and all the time, especially if you're in the infantry, it really gets you into that mindset like, hey, you really got to keep your fitness levels up, because not only do you not want to be dead weight for your squad, you're going to get shit on quite a bit if you can't pull your own, right? Because then most likely than not, they always make the big guys, right, who are a little more chubbier, right? Whenever we're doing a range, they're always the ones that end up going down. Now, I feel like this is on purpose, obviously, because they want to make the heaviest person go down so that we have to carry them. And it doesn't matter who you are, you got to be able to carry everybody in your squad or anybody in general, right? And for the most part, it's going to be in full kit. So if you got free gyms, you're not paying for it, use the gym. It's there for you. It's free, right? Number 8. Now this one might be kind of odd, and it really didn't strike me until I actually was in. I got, like, before the Marine Corps, I was kind of if and an about God, what's a good way to say it? I want to say, like, patriotism and stuff. Like, I wasn't against it, I wasn't for it. I was just kind of somewhere in the middle. I was very indifferent about it, right? And I don't know if this is, I mean, if you're from a different country from the US and you're in the military, let me know if this applies to you too, because I'd be very curious to find out. So let me know down in the comments if you also felt that when you joined, because when I joined the Marine Corps, I found a whole new appreciation for, like, kind of what freedom entails. I mean, obviously, you're not like in prison in the Marine Corps. It's but you do sign away some things that, say, civilians would be able to do, and obviously all that's in the contract when you're signing. So you're the one signing it. But it wasn't until I joined the Marine Corps that I really found a love, or, like, I guess the more patriotic side of me, of, like, really being grateful for what I had. Especially in instances where sometimes we didn't have any food, we were in deployment, and sometimes we just had to, like, really ration out things, right? And then just thinking, like, damn, we really don't know how good we have it back home. And this is just kind of my experience. But I feel like when you join any type of military branch, and in my experience being in the Marine Corps, I feel like you develop this kind of new appreciation just for, like, wherever you're from. And I don't know what it was. Like, I completely changed from before I joined the Marine Corps until when I was in and after I got out. Like, I'm very appreciative of everything I got, everything that was kind of given. I felt like I had a pretty good upbringing too. I had a mother, father, brothers. Brothers were, you know, as brothers do. And other than that, I didn't really have too many hardships. So Marine Corps was a great eye opener, because then I found out a bunch of other people who did have hardships. I mean, I had a couple of friends who were actually homeless, who ended up being able to join the Marine Corps, and some of them actually had family. And it just really, Marine Corps really did quite a bit for me in terms of being able to really get at least my life back on track. And I feel like that could really help quite a bit of people who are struggling right now. Number 9, really teaches you how to really care for others way more than yourself. Now, just a little key things, right, on that. For example, dip, right, or chewing tobacco. You know, I still got that little rhythm. dip, especially out in the field, or if you're on deployment, especially if you're on deployment, really, because sometimes they're sold out and you have a very limited supply, so you got to kind of ration it out. But sometimes something as simple as giving maybe your last pinch to a buddy, right? That you're on post with. It could be something as simple as your buddy running out of water, giving him some water. A lot of these things, I really didn't. I mean, I would say I probably did before the Marine Corps, but I don't think I ever really did until I was actually in. So as far as caring about other people and really just putting yourself, I guess, second to anybody else, because you already know, especially the people that you get really close with, they're already putting you first as well, and they're putting themselves as second. So really solidifies that you got the person to your left and to the right. I think that looks backwards in the camera, but in any case, really helps you to really look after one another and kind of get that big brother, little brother type mentality. And also even like big sister, little sister, right? But in any case, that kind of segues me to number 10. Now, the reason I left this one for last, and it kind of coincides with number 9, was that the Marine Corps is going to bring some of the greatest people into your lives. It's going to bring some of the worst people into your lives. Trust me, I've met some of the shittiest people that I wouldn't even want to talk to when I would get out. But as far as the people that it will bring into your lives, I've known people for maybe a decade before the Marine Corps, right? And I've known people in the Marine Corps just even after I barely got out, which when I hit the fleet, I had like about 3.5 years left on my contract. I know them better than the people I've known for a decade, and I feel even much closer to them, right? I genuinely, I have a little peer group still that we're like on a Snapchat group type thing, and for the most part, we keep in contact pretty frequently. And these are kind of the people that I strongly consider like close family, brothers, all that. And but I guess one of the cons is, right, that since there is a lot of people from different parts of the U.S., one of the worst feelings is when you finally get out, we all end up going our separate ways. Although we have been talking about moving to Texas just because I feel like Texas would probably be a good fit, at least for some of us, right? But that's kind of why I left it be in the end. It's going to bring some of the greatest people into your lives, people who are really going to change your lives. But yeah, I feel like whatever the case may be, the reason why I bring some of the greatest people into your lives is that you're together during the good times, everyone's chilling, having a barbecue maybe, drinking, you're on post, you're shooting the shit, and then you got the shitty times, but you're going with it with other people. People who are probably in the same pain as you, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever have you. And I don't know, I just feel like those, like being with people in tough times kind of really creates that bond. It makes it a whole lot stronger. So, and there's even been instances since we've already been out. I've been out for a little over 2 years now, that we still meet up every now and then. Like I've met friends in the state north of me and in my state. I don't want to say which state specifically, but it's very good to also be able to keep in contact with your boys. So if you feel that there's some things that I missed or some things that I just completely forgot, mainly because I kind of wrote this little 10 bullet points right here today, just because the past few days, man, this headache has been killing me. So I kind of wrote this today from whatever came to mind. And if there's some things that I missed, obviously I was trying to keep it more along the things about, not that we're going to be very generic, something that recruiter might say to try to just entice you to get in. Let me know down in the comments below. I can't really think of anything at the top of my head, but if you do know, let me know down there. And also, I'm going to put 10 reasons later on why you shouldn't join the Marine Corps. But, you know, you're going to have your pros and cons, any type of thing. So, but thank you though, if you made it this far. Don't forget to like, subscribe, really does help me out a lot. Hit that dislike button if you didn't like it, really helps me improve the channel. Leave me a little comments to maybe what it was. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.